Guys, week 9,
We
the
made
final
it.
week.
I can't even believe it.
How's
Like,
that
how
gone?
are we here again?
Like all the way through. 9 weeks, final week, and it has just been, we're making dreams come true. Left, right, and center.
And you know what? Our theme for this week, we don't have like a specific theme. We're doing Camp4U finale week
Yeah.
this week. So all the best stuff's coming your way.
Yeah, so to make our final week dreams come true, last year we had bubble balls, which was like a dream of Jordan's.
Yeah,
And so we're bringing that back this year, this week,
Ooh.
today.
Wow.
Yeah, and after we do some bowling, Crafts is soaring us to new heights as we make a kite together and fly it afterwards.
Nice.
And we got some campfire favorites coming your way. We got and Hoova and Joy Like a Fountain. Yeah, they're gonna be so much fun. Those are good songs.
Yes, and then after that, Chapel is Spinazzo style with Charlie and me.
Nice.
We're looking forward to that, as well as we've talked lots about Camp4U and making dreams come true.
Yeah.
And I think the dream prize giveaway is always the final week
Yes.
of a camp week giveaway. So we're giving away a week of camp
Wow.
for summer 2022.
Yes, that is
For
gonna
one
be-
of you,
Yeah.
Camp4U
Well, you-
crew members.
Yeah, you guys better saddle up because it's
Yeah.
gonna be a fantastic summer
It
next
is.
year.
Next year.
Let's get started.
Let's go.
Tribal Melee.
All right, we are back here. Tribal Melee once again. And guys,
Oh man.
it's happening again.
Yeah, it's gonna be even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
We're back with Bubble Ball Bowling.
Yeah.
I guess it's just me and you.
I
Charlie's
guess
not
so.
here.
Did she
so-
forfeit? Is
Yeah,
that
I
how
guess
this
so.
is working? All right.
So sorry,
Sorry, guys,
for
but
both
you know, we're just gonna take today.
So
Here we go.
this is how the game's gonna work. Down behind us, we have our pins set up. So they are 3 bubble balls high. Each ball, except for the bottom one, is worth 5 points. So when you run down, you knock them down. You get 5 points for every ball, not the bottom one that falls down. But this year, instead of running and jumping into the pins, we are gonna go blindfolded. As you can kind of see, we have set up some bumpers, you know, so we can stay in the lane. We wanna make sure we're in the lane. No gutter balls today. But we are gonna run down blindfolded. We are gonna run right through all of the pins and see how many we knock down.
Like a real bowling.
Wow!
Apparently Charlie's here to play.
She was ready.
Okay, well, so we're gonna run right through like a real bowling ball. You got that, Charlie?
I sure did.
Okay.
I was the bubble ball.
Yes, she was. And each one of our team members is gonna get to go once, and
One
we'll
time.
see who has the most points at the end. So I think green team, bearded ladies are going first. So let's go, get set up, let's go. So that was not the start that we were looking for. I thought gutter balls were impossible, but here we are. That's all right.
Okay, so our
I'm gonna hit a
strategy
ball.
is we're gonna just slow and steady wins the race. So you tiptoe and go straight to the middle. Or
And
just
we don't
beat
really
it.
know which way is
I'm gonna
straight.
go for speed. I'm gonna blow it up. That's my goal.
I'm a okay. I guess I'll go in first. Do you want to blindfold me? Yeah. Okay.
Get set, go!
Okay, what's the plan, guys? What are we doing?
Okay, we're here. center of the lane.
Yep.
I feel like we got a good strategy, feeling the groove.
And just
100%.
charge like a bull.
Yes.
Yes.
Gonna run fast and fierce and stay in our lane.
And straight. Yes. Stay in
fabulously.
the lane.
And
That's-
fabulously. And
yeah.
fun.
And we're family.
Yeah. And we're just gonna rack them up. It's gonna be good. We're ready.
No
Here
grease.
we go.
We're not winning right now. Feeling slightly better about our chances. So Will's our strongest player. I'm very confident in his abilities. We only need like 35 points to tie, which I would be happy with a tie. Then everybody wins. So let's do it. Abilities. We only need like 35 points to tie, which I would be happy with a tie. And everybody wins.
All right, so it's okay to bounce off the gutter, but we need to come off of it and hit those
Bubble balls.
towers of balls really strong.
I agree. I'm facing a fear today, so as long as I don't cry, that's like I don't like being blindfolded, and these bubble balls scare me. So I'm just facing 2 fears.
We're all
So
gonna
my
come
thing-
out of this without crying. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. No crying. Hummus.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
No crying.
awesome every
so
year.
fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Next year, I'm going for the turkey.
For a turkey.
Thanks. I just would like a strike. So we'll take what we can get right now.
You know what? It was a lot of fun. Those
know.
bowling terms are just fun. But you know what? We gotta go update the scoreboard at the forward. Let's go.
We're ready!
Yay!
Yay!
Bubble balls.
Bubble balls. You know what?
There were some really funny things that happened during that one.
It really was. Like, we had some directional issues.
You know what? I thought about this after. We should have put the bumpers up. We should have stood them up, and then
Right, and you could like ding, 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 instead of like ga-ding, ding.
I don't know.
Or just walking right past.
Oh, that was fun though.
You know,
I laughed hard.
the joy of camp.
It's true.
Go a little sideways.
Because it makes sense up here. And then all of a sudden, we got to figure out what
And
makes
then
sense over
And we ended with a tie for
Right.
second place. So you guys tied for
true.
second, which is, how is that even possible?
here. I don't know. Charlie,
I'm
what is
still
going on?
pretty-
Oh,
I just had flashbacks to what happened.
it was good.
We're being
I was
good sports
I was
here.
really proud of my
All
team
right.
when Will went down hard.
Let's go.
Okay.
We're at 885 points for both the cowbells
Okay.
and the paddles. So, quick maths, 14,100.
Takes a long time when you count by fives.
Yeah.
And then up the creek.
13,098.
098.
Whoa. Woo. Whoa. Whoa.
So close.
So
A
close.
little bit of winning streak here.
Yeah.
So we're adding,
What's gonna happen?
adding a fair amount of points in total.
Oh my gosh. Charlie! Jordan!
We're gonna have to pull our socks up.
Yep.
Find our paddles.
I gotta stand strong.
Next one.
Guys, it's less than 1,000.
Yeah,
First.
like 101 points.
Between us
But like
two.
from
but-
first
I know.
to
And
third.
then, wow.
One more challenge.
Yeah. One
Hold on.
final challenge
Hold on.
to
I'm gonna need a cup of
Roll them
coffee.
all.
I'm gonna need another cup of coffee. So
All right, well, come
Gotta
back on
find a
Friday.
trick.
we will see you there.
And we're gonna play a game and have a
A good
splashing.
time.
Good time.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
Craft time.
Hey guys, it's Christy here with today's craft time, and I'm here with my friends Eden and Rachel. Woo-hoo. So today we're going to be making some kites, just like this one. Yeah, it's super windy here a lot of the time at SABC. So it's always good weather for flying kites. So I thought, why not make a kite from scratch at home? That sounds fun. So for this craft, you are going to need some sticks to make your frame. You're gonna need one longer stick and one slightly shorter stick. And then you're gonna need some paper. It's best to use a lighter paper, like we have a roll of paper, like this one. It's kind of see-through, it's pretty light. It'll be good for catching the wind, but you don't want it to be too light like tissue paper, because then it'll just rip in the wind. But you don't want it to be heavy like construction paper, where it's just gonna be really heavy and it won't fly very well. So you could use something like the paper we have, or if you have newspaper or flyers at home, that could also work really well, and it comes pre-decorated, so that's also a win. Yeah, but be creative with your materials. We have wooden dowels here, but if you don't have these at home, you could also just use sticks from outside or something else. You could try like straws maybe too, although those are a bit bendy, but if you do have sticks, or you can find some sticks from outside, that works. One of my friends, you could use chopsticks, that's a good idea. One of my friends made this kite and she used real wooden sticks, so those are some options. And then you'll need some string as well to make the frame of the kite and the string that will connect your kite when it's in the air to you. And you also need some tape and some scissors, and that's kind of, and a glue gun preferably. So that's kind of the main supplies you'll need, but we also want to have fun and decorate it. So we're going to be using some stickers today. We've got markers, we've got crayons, and we've got ribbon, because we're going to be putting a tail on our kite, and so we thought fun ribbon would make it extra fun. But I did learn today that a tail is actually not just for decoration, it's also to help your kite fly properly. What? Yeah. That's a fun fact. Multi-purpose. So with that, I think we're going to get started.
Awesome. And just a reminder with the hot glue gun, if you have a parent with you, that's maybe going to be helpful if you need some help because it is quite hot. But I think Christy was also saying earlier to us that you could use just liquid white glue or glue sticks, kind of whatever you have, or wait till your parents get home or whatever, and then they can help you with that.
And you might even be able to use tape too.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
Yeah, so first we're gonna make the cross shape with our sticks. So it's best if you measure it because then you can make sure that it's more precise so that your kite is even and will fly properly. So we have, our shorter stick is 12 inches. So we're gonna measure it and find the part where it says 6 inches. And we're gonna make a little mark there. And then, you got that?
Yep.
You're gonna take your longer stick and you're gonna measure about a quarter of the way down from the top.
How big is our longer stick?
Our longer stick is 16 inches.
16, okay.
So a quarter of our 16-inch stick would be 4 inches. There's some math for you. All right, so I'm gonna find the 4-inch line. I'm gonna make a little mark there so I know where to attach my sticks. All right, and then we're gonna need some string to tie our sticks together. So I'll just take, I don't know, maybe 1 arm length. That seems like enough. So you're gonna take the marking that you made on your short stick, line it up with the marking you made on your long stick, and make a cross shape. And then it might be helpful if you have a family member to help you, like I have Eden here, and she's going to hold this for me. I'm gonna make a knot just to hold it in place to start. And then I'm just gonna wrap it around like crazy and secure it, just like this. Wrap it around. And then you can kind of secure it anyway. I'm just gonna tie a knot again to the string that I've been wrapping around. All right, so I've got mine secured like that. So, we've all got our main frame of our kite here. We're next going to create the outside frame using string. So, I'm gonna take this spool of string and I'm gonna measure kind of around-ish so that I know how much I'm gonna need. A little bit extra probably, just in case I didn't measure very well. And then we're gonna start at the top. You're gonna put, oops, sorry. I'm using a hot glue. This is where you could maybe use white glue. It just takes a bit longer to dry. You could also tape it, but I'm gonna use hot glue.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming for some get down, get funky, get loose.
Hey guys, stand up. We're gonna get down, get funky, and get loose. Are you guys ready? Yeah! All right, so to start off, we're gonna do some bunny hops. So we're gonna put our hands like this, and we're gonna do 10 of them. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Woo. All right, next we're gonna do some squats. You're gonna put your legs apart and pretend like you are sitting in the chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh. And now we're gonna do some side lunges, so follow me. Or shuffles. They're pretty much the same. All right, to the next person.
Okay, you guys, now we're going to do some sit-ups. We're going to do 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, and we are gonna do some running on the spot for 10 seconds. On your mark, get set, go! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we're gonna end with the freestyle dance party. Whew.
Okay, that is dry now. So now I'm gonna put a little dab of glue on the next end of the stick and pull it, not so tight that it pops off, but tight enough that you have a little bit of tension and the string is straight between the two. So now I have 2 ends glued, and And I'm going to do the third one. So on the bottom. And then when you get to the end, you just put more glue on the top and then glue the string into the string to the top of the kite. And so you make a frame, goes all the way around, just like so. So the next step will be to get our paper out and to kind of trace the shape of our kite onto the paper and to cut it out. You don't want to trace it exactly the same size because you're going to need to fold the paper over top of the frame. So I'm going to leave about like 1 inch extra. All right, so I've got my sheet of paper here. I'm putting my kite down and I want to leave like a good, probably
maybe 2 inches.
2 inches around the whole thing. So if you can see now, I've got my kite shape kind of drawn out on my piece of paper. So to make more space, I'm going to cut mine out now. All right, so now we have all cut out our shapes and we are ready to decorate. Just make sure when you're decorating, if you're doing it like this, you're going to be folding like about 1 inch over. So don't put your design right to the edge if you want it to be seen. If you don't mind, then you can color all the way to the edge, it doesn't matter. So this is the point where you get to be really creative, have a lot of fun. We're gonna work on decorating ours, do some drawing. You could paint it, like I said earlier. You can put lots of stickers on it. I don't know, I'm really excited to see how you guys decorate your kites. So we have decorated our little hearts out. I went for the flower theme, like I said, put some roots down there for the under construction theme.
I went very summery with some sunflowers and yellow and orange and green.
I love the geometric kind of shapes design. That's really fun.
Yeah, and I was inspired by Christy's flower to be behind my Be Free.
Nice. So once you have your kite all nice and decorated, we're gonna go back to this little frame and we're going to be adding the strings first before we add the paper. So you're gonna want to get your string out again. We're gonna be tying kind of 4 strings together in the middle, and that's what we will attach the big long string to so that it flies properly. So I'm gonna kind of measure out one that's long enough to go across. And then we'll tie it on here, onto the end, to one side. Secure. I'm gonna probably add just a dab of hot glue as well, just to make sure that it doesn't slide around, because that the kite will not fly properly if the strings are moving around.
So just the length of your stick?
A little bit longer for extra, because you're gonna want it to kind of be able to pull out a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I've got my first string tied on. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of extra room, and it's kind of tied
to the string
near the ends too. And then I'll borrow the string again, and now I'm gonna make one that goes top to bottom. So that's tied, and I want to make sure that it's kind of even and that the strings will meet together in the middle. All right, so you're gonna end up with 2 strings connected at the top and the bottom and the 2 sides, like that. And now I'm just gonna add a little dab of hot glue here to make sure that the strings don't slip around. Okay, so now we have our kites decorated, the paper part, and we've got our frames ready We have glued extra string on, which we will attach the long string to. So now we are going to attach the paper to the frame. So you're gonna lay it down in the middle with the colored side face down on the table. Place it in the middle of your kite shape, and now you're just gonna start folding it over and taping it down. So I've got some fun tape here with flowers on it, sticking with the flower theme. So I'm gonna use that. So I'm gonna stick this down like so. Tape right over the dowels and the extra string part. So at the corner and the bottom, I have a lot of extra, so I'm really just gonna trim it off. It's gonna get folded over, you're not gonna see it, so it doesn't have to look pretty. Okay, so I have successfully taped down all of my edges around my string and stick frame. So as they're finishing just taping the edges of theirs, I'll show you the last step of this craft. So we'll take more string. This time you're gonna need a lot of string because this is the string that you're gonna be holding on to when you fly your kite. So the longer you make this string, the higher up your kite will be able to go. So I've got quite a bit of string here. You could probably even do more than that, but don't want to waste it. Okay, so now we'll tie the long string to the middle of those other two strings, right where they meet in the center. Make it nice and secure, tie it a few times. Okay, so before we add our tail onto our kite, I'm just gonna finish up this step with the long string. So when we cut off of our dowels to make them the right size, we had a bit of leftover. This is pretty small, but it'll work. So I'm just gonna wrap the other end that's not tied to the kite, obviously, and wrap it around like this. All right, so as you can see, I've got the long string tied to the middle of those strings, and I've got the other end wound around my little piece of dowel. So that kite is almost ready to fly, but we are missing the tail. This step you could probably do before you fold the paper over, and you could tie it to the wooden dowel, but since I didn't do that, I think I will I think I might just tape it onto the inside at the bottom here. You're gonna measure out a piece of string that's the same length as the long dowel. So about that long for me. I have a little bit of extra tape here that I'll just kind of peel up and stick down on the bottom here. So for the final step then, to finish off this tail, it's kind of ugly right now, so I think it'd be fun to add some ribbons. So we have selected our ribbons already. We did about 5 pieces. You could do more. You could do a little less if you're making a smaller kite with a smaller tail. So yeah, I have 5, and I'm just gonna tie them in little bows down the length of the tail. So I'll do one and I'll show you. There's one bow that I've tied on with my pretty ribbon here, and I'm gonna keep going. So Rachel had the idea to hot glue her tail onto the bottom, and I think that's probably a good idea to make sure it's extra secure. So I'm just gonna do that now. All right, so we have completed our kites. We've done a nice tail with some ribbons. Ooh, the yellow, brown, sunflower theme, also a sunflower theme, but I did some blues and yellows.
Yep.
You did like a yellows, browns, greens, sunflower theme.
You know.
Should we hold it up so the kids can see as well? All right, so these look great, but we should probably see if they fly great. So we're gonna head outside into the wind and see how our flights fly. But yeah, thank you so much for joining and sticking with us through this. If you need to pause or go back, you totally can. There's a lot of steps to this craft, I know. But I had so much fun making it with you guys, and I can't wait to see your projects and how they turn out and how you decorate them all. Yeah. So we'll catch you outside.
All right, we're outside on this windy day. We're gonna try and see how well our kites fly. So far in our practice rounds, we have not been super successful.
but we're having fun with it. So let's do it. They kind of work. They don't work great, but I'm excited to see the kites that you guys make and to see how high you can get your kite to fly. So send us in your pictures and videos of you guys making kites and flying them. See ya.
Campfire Sing-Along.
Hey guys, welcome to Campfire again. Me and Nathan are going to be singing some epic songs, but first I want to tell you a story. I have many aunts and uncles, but my favorite is my dear Aunt Huva, who traveled all the way from Texas to visit us. Now in Texas, you'd think they would raise cattle, but she doesn't. What do you raise, Aunt Huva?
I raise chickens.
And are those chickens good chickens or bad chickens?
They're mischievous is what I like to call them.
Oh, and we have a song about your chickens here.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear it.
Oh, yes. Well, you can have a seat now. Bye, Aunt Huva. Bye, Aunt Huva.
Bye.
All right, this is a repeat after me song.
This is a repeat after me song.
Sort of, except the beginning is not.
Okay.
Sort of, except the beginning is not. All right.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens.
Many what?
Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens.
Many what?
Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens.
Many what?
Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
Right foot.
Right foot.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens. Many what? Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
Right foot.
Right foot.
Left foot.
Left foot.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens. Many what? Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
Right foot.
Right foot.
Left foot.
Left foot.
Butt out.
Butt out.
My Aunt Huva had many chickens. Many what? Many chickens. My Aunt Huva had. Huva had. They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. Right wing.
Right wing.
Left wing.
Left wing.
Right foot.
Right foot.
Left foot.
Left foot.
Butt out.
Butt out.
Head bobbing.
Head bobbing.
They don't sleep, no, 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 no. They don't eat, no, 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 no. They just do this all day long. And now the chickens are tired and need to get some water. Do you have any water, Nathan?
No, I forgot my water bottle. Please don't do that when you're at camp. It's not a good idea.
Stay hydrated, kids. But we do have a song
We do.
with lots of water.
Because we've got joy like a fountain. Okay, so this is not a repeat after me song. This is an everybody sing together song.
Together.
Woo!
No, that's not how it works.
They're getting there. I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain in my soul, not my shoe! I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain in my soul, not my shoe! I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul, not my shoe! I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul, not my shoe! I got love like the ocean, I got love like the ocean, I got love like the ocean in my soul, not my shoe! I got love like the ocean, I got love like the ocean, I got love like the ocean in my soul, not my shoe!
I got joy like a fountain, I got peace like a river, I got love like the ocean in my soul, not my shoe. I got joy like a fountain, I got peace like a river, I got love like
explosion in my soul, not my shoe. And now we get to head to chapel and learn more about God's love.
Chapel.
Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Tonia.
Hey, and welcome to
Chapel time.
week 9.
What?
It's our Monday, week 9 chapel time. And so we have Friday, but today is our last time together, kind of, almost.
And if you watched last summer's Camp4U, you saw that Tonia did Spedazzo with Rachel and Darian at a cabin, just like we are at a cabin today. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing as well.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out, remembering what we talked about, and remembering maybe some of the things that we learned and that we hope you guys learned, and just sharing a few sort of chapel memories. Yeah, which will be fun. Because which was super fun, got to share during chapels this summer, which was awesome.
And we do a lot of things together at Camp4U, but we have not done a chapel together.
No, we just tagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we did when you talked about creation, I was back there hanging things up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we do. You're right. We do like to do things together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fun. Well,
week 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And I think what's fun about this summer's chapels is that our whole theme was under construction. But like Charlie was going to say, week 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, they all had their own themes too, which was really fun. And so kind of under construction was where we started. And kind of been that theme all the way through. Lots of cool things to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you going to say about week 1 and 2?
Well, you had Christy join you for, I think, the very first one, and you two were talking about how you can build things together. I believe there was building Lego that you were telling stories about, and we got to see you guys build Lego and all the different instruction books that you had.
And Christy was talking about IKEA furniture,
which is an
a
adventure
whole other thing. Yeah, yeah,
and also how building came up not just in the construction week that we had at the beginning of the summer, but in all of our chapels of how God has been building in each and every one of us.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And we learned a memory verse.
That's right.
Right? Lots of memory verses. And like Charlie said, it feels like a really long time ago. And so we're going to see how well we remember. I think I remember the verses. Sometimes the actions help me remember right at the beginning, and then I forget some of the actions, but the actions still help me remember. So we'll see how well you guys do too. So our first couple of weeks, we learned a memory verse, Matthew 7, verse 24, and it talks about a wise man who builds his house upon a rock. And that, if we remember talking about, is that it's about the wise man is somebody who hears about God and reads his Bible and hears about how much God loves them and begins to believe that and then live that way and kind of build his life on the fact that God loves them. So, should we try that verse?
Yeah, let's try it out.
Here we go. Matthew 7, verse 24. Numbers are hard.
Especially when you only have 10 fingers.
True. It's true, but we're figuring it out. Okay, here we go. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does them is like a wise man who built his house upon a rock. Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Where did we go from there?
Well, after that, we went during week 3 and 4, it was actually when I taught chapels, and we talked about a lot of actually individuals in the Bible, and how God used each and every one of them for a purpose, because he has built them and he has built us each for a purpose.
Yeah.
Even if we don't always know what that purpose is when we're at the beginning of our lives, but sometimes it's once we start looking back that we see how God used us. So we talked about Moses, we talked about Saul who became Paul, we talked about Rahab and Jericho.
Love that. So many cool stories.
And so our memory verse talked about how when we meet God, when we meet Christ or Jesus, there's a lot of names for him, we become a new creation, and God can use us as we become more and more like him.
Yeah.
So
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, our memory verse was from 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians 5
verse
17.
Woo! That was hard. Math is hard. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
All right. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone. The new is here.
So good. Oh yeah, your actions help me remember that one. So good. Yeah, I loved it.
Makes me think of our campfire song.
Yeah. So good. Yes. So many fun campfire songs. You guys were so good at them. And then we headed into the next few weeks, and we went all the way to the beginning of the Bible, to Genesis 1. Genesis 1, verse 31a, and we talked about creation and how God built. Charlie, you already talked about it, where she was filling in creation inside that little house that we had built, and how God began to build a home, all of the world, for all of us to come and live in. And when he said it was all good, right? Everything he made was good. And when he looked at people who he had made in his image, he said it was very good. And that was pretty cool. And so Genesis 1 verse 31 says, oh yes, yes, Genesis 1 31a.
I had a hard time getting the third finger.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes that's hard. Yeah. Okay, and then this is nice and short. It says, then God looked over everything he had made and said it was very, very good. That was so good. Yeah. I love that God looks at Charlie and me and each and every one of you, and he says you are very, very good, because and he just loves you guys so much. Yeah. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
That's definitely something that I have been learning this spring and summer, is just how God looks at us and how he created us in his image, and that he says that we are very good, and that is something that is true of us all. Which is really cool to then talk about it in chapels as well.
Yeah. Apparently we have a kitty joining us for chapel today. Yeah.
We always love guest appearances.
It's true. I know, we've had so many this summer. Okay, and our very last verse that we just learned in the last couple of weeks, we was in Philippians, and Paul, who Charlie told us all about, actually wrote this verse for us. And it's talking about the fact that God is doing a good work. Like Charlie said, he's always building and doing amazing things, and we don't always see it, but we can be sure, we can be confident, we can know that God has started good things and done good work, and he's going to finish it. He's going to keep going. He's not going to leave the project of me or Charlie or you undone or unfinished, which is kind of fun and very encouraging. So all right, and I know that we did actions for this some chapels, and then sometimes we didn't. So this one was just good to try to stick in our brains. So we're gonna just we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to make up actions that make sense for you, even if we teach you a different one.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you're like, oh, I don't remember the action, but we can still remember the words and make up a new action to remember. So here we go. It is Philippians 1 verse 6. And it's being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that God is at work in all of us all of the time, and he's not going to stop until we get to meet him, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is good news, which is what chapel is really about, is about sharing the good news of Jesus.
Yeah, and that good news comes from, and all of these verses come from, the Bible, right? And it is that big book full of little books, full of little stories that tell us that big story about God. And that big story is exactly that gospel. That good news is that Jesus loves you and me and Charlie and everyone you see so much that he gave up his life so that we could be forgiven for our sins, and we could know him and build our lives upon him, like a wise man builds his house upon a rock.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You want to talk about some of the other themes that we did this summer?
Yeah. I mean, every week held a different theme, which was really fun. Like we had Water Week, which like we talked about Noah, and I filmed that on a big boat that was actually on land. But then we talked about Peter and fishing and how Jesus said he was going to make him a fisher of people. And I did that on the fishing boat on the lake, which is really fun. And I think that is something that is like really good for us to know, is that this good news, this gospel, and what we read about in the Bible isn't just for us, but it is for us to share with everyone around us. And sometimes memorizing verses and like hearing stories, like even Nana and Grandpa, like hearing those stories gives us great tools. Like we can be construction workers too. It gives us tools to help share with others what we know to be true.
Yeah, and so we can tell those stories from the Bible, and we can also tell the stories of our lives, of ways that we've seen God help us grow and do good things and kind of learn about who he is, just like a lot of our Camp4U crew told you bits and pieces of their story and how they have seen God love them and grow in them, and we can be imitators like we talked about in that verse. And I loved that chapel when I got to do that with Felix. Felix joined me, and we took our hearts, we had paper hearts, and we did a mirror. We pretended to imitate what each other was doing, and that is sort of what building our life is on Jesus, is we start being like him and acting like him, or like imitating what we have a new cat, what Jesus is like. And so I really loved that time with Felix, and just thinking about how I can reflect, like you said, tell others about Jesus by the way that I live.
Yeah, and when I think about, like, one of our themes was that we are built on purpose for a purpose, and God built us that way. And when I think about our week when we talked about Rahab and the spies and then the wall of Jericho, I really loved how even though Rahab wasn't necessarily part of, like, when we read the Bible, we hear lots about God's promise to, like, specific people, and Rahab wasn't a part of that people, but that promise still extended to her, and she was welcomed into his family. And then I really loved having Josh and Will join us for the Jericho chapel, and how the wall did come crashing down.
So crazy.
Like, it's just cool to see how even though the people walked around the walls of Jericho, they
over and over.
They really had nothing to do with the walls coming down, other than they listened to God and were like a wise man, and they obeyed him, which is then how he allowed them to be successful and conquerors.
Yeah, I loved the Rahab story too, and I think what you just said was that she wasn't a part of that first people, but that gift extended to her. And so when we talked about Christmas, and that Jesus is the very best gift of all, and that he is for everybody. Jesus is for everybody, and that we can know him, and we can know how much he loves us, and that is that gospel, that each and every one of us can know that we are loved, and we can live every day knowing that. And then last week we talked about Peter again. We talked about Peter a couple of times. And just that he knew who Jesus was. And the cool thing about knowing who Jesus is he helps us know who we are. And it goes all the way back to creation. We are created on purpose by God for his purposes. And this great big book helps us learn those things. Having good conversations with friends about memory verses and lessons that we can learn from the Bible. That's really what chapels are all about.
Yeah, it's not just about watching them, but then going forward and sharing what we're learning, like you were saying.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for being under construction with Charlie and I and all of our friends, and sending in your memory verses. And so if you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't send those in, just memorize them.
Yeah.
Send us a message on Facebook or Instagram and let us know if you want. But
you also can still send them in for our final summer highlight video.
Very true. We're not done.
We're not done.
Oh yeah, this is our last week. I just forgot. I was like, we're wrapping it all up, but we have one more highlight video.
And so
Yes.
this is the time to send all your memory verses in, even if you want to share with us what you have learned this summer.
Favorite stories.
Yeah, we would love to hear what you have been learning.
Yeah, even if there was a favorite testimony that you heard from one of our crew members, or a favorite story with Grandpappy and Nana, who's, not here right now. But anyways, thanks you guys. It's been super fun learning with you guys and teaching you and learning with you, Charlie.
Yeah, it's been great being a part of this and learning alongside with you, Tonia.
Thanks, guys. Have a good Monday.
Yeah.
Wow, what a day. Super full.
Great start to our final week of Camp 4U.
Gotta love the bubble balls. They're just.
And you just never know what's going to happen.
Never a dull moment.
No, never. Okay, so we've done some really fun stuff today already. Final challenges for the final week are what?
All right, I'll go first. We got those kites. We want to see you guys make kites at home, whether it's one that you make or if you have like a store-bought one. Flying kites, is super fun. Southern Alberta, there's most of the time wind. So,
Absolutely.
Very true.
we want to see you guys fly some kites.
Let's do it.
And if you're bowling, like lawn bowling, my grandparents loved lawn bowling, so you could do that. Or memory verses. We have done like 4 memory verses this summer, so we want you to send those in, showing us that you learned them.
Absolutely. And there is such fun stuff that we've done all summer. So if you're like, oh, I never got to try that, do it. Try it. Try the challenges, make the crafts, learn the memory verses, send anything in from all summer, and we want to make the finale
highlight video.
Awesome. So we look forward to your guys' stuff, and we will be back here on Wednesday. See you then.